This is Jason from Laundry List, and today we're with
John Economo from Yankee Equipment.
And John is a distributor that sells washing machines, dryers. They're a full-service distributor, and I'm interested in speaking with John because I'm in need of some new equipment, and I thought it would be great to bring the viewers through the process of how do we get equipment and what can John do to aid me in that process. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Well, we provide all the equipment for the end user. We also provide an incredible support system to get through this process. This is not an easy job.
I knew nothing about this equipment.
It's a fun industry. Again, nothing for the faint of heart. The equipment's very expensive. To invest in something like this,
the average cost of a machine is between $5,000 and $10,000 on the newer,
and the newer smaller ones. The larger ones go from from the 40 pounders to the 60 pounders. They go anywhere from $14,000 to $18,000.
Oh, I know. I know.
So
tell us a little bit about Yankee as a company. Like, where are they based and what region do they service?
Yankee is based out of Barrington, New Hampshire, and for over 60 years. We cover upstate New York, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut,
Rhode Island,
all of New England, and we cover anything from the ranges of laundromats to linen companies to hotels, hospitals,
and linen companies because they're using commercial grade machines to service cleaner linens.
Things like anything from anywhere from a 140-pound washing machine to a tunnel system, which is an incredible engineering feat.
Right, and you guys do nursing homes,
all of it,
hotels,
apartment buildings,
even other distributors, jails,
also jails. Have you been to a few jails?
That's the best and only way you want to visit a jail.
No, it was kind of scary, anyways. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't fun to be in the general population, but they had two guys with me the whole time. So
this is an easy process.
This part
compared
is very
to a jail.
Easy, yes.
All right. John mentioned it is a pretty intimidating process to part with thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy equipment. And a lot of laundromat owners rely on people like John, distributors, to help aid us in the process, give us advice, let us know what some of the latest and greatest technology and machines are.
And most of our company, not just my company and competitors, we offer trade shows. You can actually drive to a location, see the machines, talk to the manufacturer, and get the newest and best things that are coming out.
Right. So we're gonna walk through, and I'm interested in a couple of the slightly larger machines and possibly some dryers. And there's some challenges because this is a small space, and there's some things that I'd like to talk through with you to see if there's a way to squeeze certain pieces of equipment into this space. We'll bring the viewers through the process.
Okay, great.
What I'm looking to do is to replace several of my smaller machines with these larger LG Titan machines that are commercial grade. I've been really happy with this machine, and I'm looking to get a few more of them. But one of the challenges is we're trying to figure out if there is a bracket that we could put this machine on and use the old bases when we replace some of the smaller machines. That's challenge number one. The second challenge is this machine is about 2 inches or so larger than my existing smaller machines in terms of the girth of the machine. And we need to figure out if we can move all of the other machines 6 to 12 inches towards the front door. And John, you did say that's possible. You guys move this stuff all the time.
We move things all the time.
We're going to get confirmation if they make a bracket, and if they don't, we'll figure out some kind of workaround.
Well, the safest way is to call up the vendor himself, the LG
distributor,
see if there's something that they can do, because they've seen it all, and they're a good source. They're a good resource for information.
These are the machines we're looking to replace, and this is a smaller space than the width of the LG machines. The LG machines are much larger in terms of capacity than these machines, but their footprint is much smaller, which is why I really like them, and they're not heavy. This is a very heavy machine here. The LG is probably about 50 pounds heavier than these smaller white machines. Ideally, I would like to place several LG washers on this side of the laundromat, so all of these Speed Queen machines would have to shift 6 to 12 inches towards the front door in order for me to accommodate the slightly larger size of the LG machines. I would like to use these existing bases that the machines are currently sitting on. Otherwise, it becomes much more complicated to try to put a new base for the LG washers in place. Next challenge is we're looking to replace these very old, outdated Maytag dryers, but the challenge is we're very limited in the space, cannot be any larger than 30 inches. These are 31.5 inches, so I cannot get these machines. So John was confirming there's two brands that I could put in here, and they are
ADC and LG Titan dryers.
So the LG Titan, the downside is they will not accept coin because when they stack, they have no place for the coin acceptor. So that would just be credit card, or in my case, PayRange, the app.
An app version.
And the ADC, which 90% of my dryers are ADC. They've been very reliable, like great workhorses. They can take coin and card.
Yes, they can. And they're also locally made. They're built out in New Bedford.
They're only a few hours from here.
So they're only a few hours from here. And I've been to the plant. They have excellent products there.
Those respective dryers are 29 inches and 29.75.
Correct.
So either way, I can pull this old one out and slot the new ones in. There's people that are watching this that have no idea how much it costs to retool a laundromat. So what's the average size of a laundromat?
Ideally, you'd like 2,800 square feet.
All right, so how many washers tend to go into a 2,800 square foot?
People like larger machines.
Yeah.
So I've been fitting new layouts, new laundromats, and I've had a few over the last couple of months with 120-pound washers in the front window, 80s next to them, and then the 40s, 60s, 40s, and 30s. People are tending to get away from the 20s because the customers think. Well,
that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to replace those with bigger machines.
And it's all about revenue and revenue per square foot.
Right.
So you gotta go square inch with this business.
Right.
So
that's true.
So if you're making $4 for 2 square feet, we'll keep it that simple. And if you can keep the same footprint, why wouldn't you make an extra $2?
Right. Well, also,
you're here to
you can't cover your utilities, your rent, or your mortgage.
Someone coming in to clean the place. I mean, it's
there's a lot of expense associated with laundromat.
No one expects, and they're mechanical, so they break down. Okay, you might have a warranty, but you're still going to pay the guy to come out. Right. And depending on where you are, that's going to cost a couple hundred.
What's the ideal pound capacity in a 2,500 to 2,800 square foot?
I'd say 1,450 pounds.
All right, 1,400 to 1,500 pounds of capacity. And your dryer capacity wants to be about 25% more to accommodate.
So if you have 100 pounds of wash, you want 125 pounds of dry. And the biggest reason for that is traffic.
Right.
Because you don't want people getting
the bottleneck will be at the dryers.
You're going to be busy. Right. And people are going to be mad if they have to wait for the dryer.
Right. Which is why I'm also replacing dryers, because if I'm going to increase my pound per square foot, which I would with those LGs, I want to keep that ratio because it gets tight in here on a busy day. You're right. So you want to make sure your customers still remain happy. All right. So for that capacity, what is the average investment? If I'm a new laundromat owner, how much would it typically cost if I'm going to put together just some general numbers? What do you think it would? I know it's going to vary based on the brand and all that, but on average, are we looking at $100,000, $200,000?
So I get this question quite a bit.
So do I, actually.
And I have a lot of people that will call me up and I want to open up a laundromat.
Right.
And I'm not easy on some of the newer
frequently
guys.
Do you get asked? Or how frequently do people? So people on a weekly basis are saying, I'm thinking of opening a laundromat, or I'm definitely opening a laundromat, because there's a lot of tire kicking from what I've seen.
But again, because people just aren't, okay, you want to open up a restaurant? You need
I don't. But.
I know you don't. No, I don't either. But you need a grill, a refrigerator, first and last month's rent, insurance, and now you have a restaurant.
Right.
You're
well, actually, when you put it like that, I could probably get a grill. I could do that right. I got the exhaust ready with the dryers.
But you're not going to make as much money as you would.
I have no interest in doing a restaurant. Machine. In fact, just for the record, if I were ever going to do anything with food, soft serve custard. I love it. It tastes great. You say no?
No, I'll tell you about this at our next show. Okay.
All right.
But the answer is absolutely
not even soft serve custard.
I've seen it. I've seen a guy ruin his business from switching to soft serve custard.
Well, no, it wouldn't be instead of a laundromat. It would be in addition to it.
Right. So, all right, do you know how much a soft serve custard
machine
it weighs?
Probably. Well, I don't know how much it weighs. It's probably 15 to 20,000 to buy.
It's at least that,
right?
But it weighs probably 10,000 pounds.
Wow.
Right? And it will run up your electricity like nobody.
This would be in a truck. I would have it in a truck. But anyway,
it's a wonderful product. It's not. Opening a laundromat is not for the faint of heart.
So from an investment perspective, what is your advice to people? How much capital do you think it would take on average?
Forget about infrastructure. Just for equipment, you're looking at around $400,000.
$400,000 for equipment, and that's going to give you 2,500 to 2,800 square foot filled with washers, dryers, 1,400 pound capacity, 25% more for the dryers, and you're in business.
Yes.
How long would it take for them to recoup that $400,000?
Well, to get a note for a laundromat, they ask for 7 to 8 years. Maybe they stretch it to 10, but usually it's 7 years.
So they'll finance 7 to 10 years.
And usually it's 30% down. So you're looking at 30%, having that kind of.
So now you're putting $120,000 down. You're financing $280,000. You're paying the $280,000 over 7 to 8 years. So your monthly payments will typically look like $4,000-ish a month, something like that. The bank loan is telling you you're gonna basically pay this off over 7 to 8 years. How long do you think it would take the average laundromat investor to recoup that $400,000, regardless of what they're paying the bank?
Well, again, another interesting question. It really depends on the demographics of the location.
Yeah.
Which we do, which the bank will do to give you the financing. Right. If the demographics do not work, and when we do the demographics and then a pro forma, we'll have an idea of what the building should be making for you every week, every month.
Right.
And how long it will take for you to pay off the loan.
When do you think the revenue would reflect, or your profits would reflect, I have just recovered my $400,000? Is that typically 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Well,
I know it's a hard question.
It is a very hard question. This is what I go by.
But this is what these people want to know. Right. Is it worth it to invest $400,000, and can they recoup it quicker than 8 years?
If you have the right demographics.
Yep.
If you have the correct rent for the demographics.
And rent will define as 25%, 30% of your revenue.
Then yes, it's worth it. The margins are incredible,
right? For
an industry that you can be a solo person and open up.
And by margins, we're going to say on average, it's what, about 25, 30% margin?
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, those are incredible margins for any business.
For any business.
So if your laundromat is doing, let's say, $200,000 of revenue a year, you can expect $60,000 of that to be profit. Now, if you've invested $400,000, it's going to basically take you 6 to 7 years to recoup that $400,000. So that may be a quicker timeline than what the bank is giving you.
So the bank, that's why they charge for paying off early. They want the full payment.
Right.
They want the full interest.
Because they know that a lot of laundromat owners will be able to pay off.
And that's what made it so interesting to me. They know they're going to get paid off early. They don't want to get paid off early.
Right.
Where in every other commercial loan, there's no real stipulation like that.
Right.
But again, it's very hard work.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I've always said, and this is to anyone that's watching that's thinking about laundromat ownership, this is not an easy business. No. It's a simple business.
Yes.
Right? And simple for me is defined as 4 things. Safe, clean, your machines need to work, and you have to answer your phone if you're unattended, and or provide top-notch customer service. Someone has an issue, you take care of it. Correct. And you don't ignore it, because that is what people expect. They want to have a good experience when they're in a laundromat.
It's a community type business. So the community will talk. But also take pride in what you do.
Right. And
this is a home, and you have to look at it that way. Be able to own your own business is something that's very special.
Right. Well, welcome to my home.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So you're getting a lot of phone calls every week about people expressing interest in owning laundromats. What are some of the things that you would advise them not to ask you? Like, what are some annoying things where they're just kicking the tires, or they're not that serious? You've seen it all, I'm sure.
The worst thing I hear, hey, can you give me a quote on some washing machines?
You probably get that more frequently than anything else.
Everything. And my answer would be no. Well, why not? Because I don't know what you're using it for. I don't know what building you have. I don't know what layout you want. You just want a price for So the natural first reaction for somebody getting into a new business is, I got to get my best price. So I want to get pricing for 30-pound washers, 40-pound washers, 50-pound washers. And then I'm going to go to the next guy. And then
right, as if you don't talk to your colleagues from other companies. So, everybody knows.
So we're all priced in the same ballpark
that's
anyways.
True. That's true.
It just tells me that you're not serious. The question that I would like is, I want to buy a laundromat. I have a couple locations. Can you take a look with me?
Right.
And I'm more than willing to come out and take a look. I came into the industry looking to buy a laundromat.
That's how you got started.
Well, I wanted to learn how to sell the laundry equipment, learn about the laundry equipment, learn about the business, then buy a laundromat.
Right. What's stopping you?
It's not as easy as I thought it was when I walked into the business. It's owning a business. There's a lot of pressure involved. It's not.
You mean it's not just passive income?
No, it's not.
Where you walk away and you do nothing?
There's not a mailman coming in with an envelope full of cash and dropping it off to you and saying, good job.
Right. Well, the mailman did just come in, but he did not drop off cash. I get inquiries about, are you interested in selling your laundromat every month? Someone's either dropping a note in the box, sending me an email, calling me, soliciting, and I will generally entertain any of those. I'm not looking to sell, but if someone wants to overpay me, of course I would sell. I'd be foolish not to. So how many times have you had somebody call you and then they circle back like 2 years later and they're like, oh, remember we spoke 2 years ago? Does that happen, or is it pretty much?
It happens. Circumstances happen where people want to buy something, it just doesn't work out. And then 2 years later, same location, same everything, and everything fell into place.
And they were just ready to make the decision and make the move.
So it does happen.
How many times have you talked to other colleagues or other competitors, because you guys run into each other at trade shows and stuff, and have you ever talked about, oh, did you get a phone call from so-and-so, and were they asking you about those 30 machines and what the pricing was?
A certain sect, I should say, that everyone knows about.
So they have a reputation that they're always asking you guys about pricing and comparing, and they're never serious about actually doing anything.
They end up buying a used machine, and then they complain about our service costs and everything else. So it's
right. Yeah, I mean, you guys probably make more money on the service calls than you do on the actual equipment. Yeah, so they're not doing themselves a favor by buying used equipment.
No, companies love the service department.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty good profit center. Which, by the way, we didn't talk about that. But my introduction to Yankee was I had to have certain machine service when I first bought the laundromat, and you guys have great service and pricing on LGs. So that's what we're doing here. This is Jason from Laundry List, the best place for brainwashing.